They call me a hunter, a mercenary, some might say, a contractor, if you want to be formal. But I'm just a man who gets paid to kill things. Nasty things, usually. Things that most people only read about in pulp magazines. Things governments would rather not admit exist. This time, it was something in the Venezuelan jungle, Mount RORAIMA, and it was the biggest mistake of my life. Before RORAIMA, my life was functional. Clean kills, efficient exits, no attachments. My apartment was Spartan, my meals were pre-packaged, and my only company was the weight of my gear. I lived for the adrenaline rush, for the precision, for the satisfying thwack of a silenced round. RORAIMA changed all that. The contract was vague. Neutralize a threat. No specifics. Just go in, find it, and kill it. Simple, they said. Nothing could be further from the truth. The contrast was brutal. Before RORAIMA, my targets had been human, flawed, predictable, driven by motivations I could, at least partially understand. Here, amidst the humid, oppressive heat of the Tepuy, we faced something else entirely. Something ancient, something alien. My team, 2 other mercenaries, Ramirez, a wiry Colombian with nerves of steel, and Olsen, a hulking Swede with a penchant for explosives, were uneasy. Even Ramirez, who'd seen more than his share of violence, seemed unnerved by the oppressive atmosphere. The journey to RORAIMA was arduous. Days of hacking through dense jungle, navigating treacherous terrain, the constant oppressive humidity clinging to us like a second skin. The air hung heavy with the scent of decay and something else, something primal, something ancient. It was a feeling more than a smell, a palpable sense of wrongness, a violation of the natural order. We were intruders in a place that clearly did not want us. The first sign wasn't an attack, it was a discovery. A cave, hidden deep within the Tepuy's sandstone cliffs, its entrance concealed behind a curtain of vines. Inside, we found glyphs, intricate carvings on the cave walls, depicting beings that defied description, scenes of violence, and rituals that chilled us to the bone. They were not human, they were something else, something ancient, something powerful, something watching us. That's when the whispers started. Not audible whispers, but a feeling, a sense of being watched, of eyes boring into our backs from the unseen corners of the cave. The air grew colder, the silence more oppressive. It wasn't just fear. It was a raw, primal dread, a sense of ancient malice. We were not alone. Mount RORAIMA, a Tepuy rising dramatically from the Venezuelan jungle, is a place steeped in legend. The indigenous Pemen people consider it a sacred site, a place of immense power and ancient secrets. Their stories speak of spirits, of powerful creatures that guard the mountain, and of a lost world hidden within its cliffs. These weren't just myths, they were warnings. Warnings we ignored. Ramirez, despite his hardened exterior, was deeply affected by the glyphs. He muttered about local legends, tales of a creature called the Maipure, a powerful spirit said to protect the mountain and punish those who trespass. His usually confident demeanor was replaced by a palpable unease. He was a pragmatic mercenary, but even he couldn't dismiss the unsettling atmosphere of the cave. Olsen, the Swede, remained outwardly stoic, his usual gruffness masking a deep-seated fear. His reliance on explosives, his preference for brute force, hinted at a deep-seated insecurity, a need to control the uncontrollable. The silence, the unseen, unnerved him far more than any open confrontation ever could. His bravado was a thin veneer over a growing dread that my own background is less clear-cut. I'm a hunter, trained to eliminate threats, but this was different. I'd faced danger before, but this was different. The unsettling atmosphere of RORAIMA's isolated heights, the raw power emanating from the cave, the palpable presence of something ancient and malevolent, shook me to my core. My usual detached professionalism crumbled under the weight of the unknown. The landscape itself became a character in the story. The sheer cliffs, the mist-shrouded peaks, the dense jungle clinging to the mountain's base, all contributed to the oppressive atmosphere. The beauty of RORAIMA was deceptive, a mask for something far more sinister, a thin veneer over an ancient and unforgiving power. The very air seemed to vibrate with a raw, untamed energy. We were not merely explorers. We were intruders in a sacred place, and the mountain was making that abundantly clear. The glyphs offered glimpses into a forgotten world, a history older than any written record. They depicted beings that defied human comprehension, rituals of sacrifice, and scenes of unspeakable violence. They suggested a civilization far beyond our understanding, a history of immense power and untold horror. The more we looked, the more we realized we were facing something that was not merely a creature, but a remnant of a lost civilization, its guardians determined to protect its secrets. The whispers intensified. They weren't just a feeling anymore. They were almost audible, a sibilant hiss in the silence, a constant reminder of our vulnerability. The glyphs seemed to shift and change, the carvings morphing before our eyes, the images becoming more disturbing, more violent. The deeper we explored the cave system, the more unsettling the experience became. Ramirez, his unease growing into full-blown fear, began to suggest a retreat. His pragmatic approach to mercenary work was clashing with the raw, primal horror of RORAIMA's ancient secrets. His suggestions, though sensible, were met with resistance from Olson, whose fear manifested as aggression. The tension between them added another layer of complexity to the already perilous situation, increasing the stakes of our increasingly dangerous endeavor. The attacks began subtly, a series of unsettling events designed to test our resolve and wear down our spirits. Supplies went missing, equipment was damaged, and the sense of being watched intensified. It wasn't a physical assault, but a psychological war of attrition, designed to break our confidence and unravel our sense of security. The unseen enemy was playing a calculated game, its purpose not merely to eliminate us, but to break our spirits and ensure that we would never again dare to encroach on its sacred territory. One night, Olson disappeared. We found traces of a struggle, broken branches, disturbed earth, and a single, disturbingly large footprint. The footprint belonged to something unlike any animal we knew. It was a clear sign that we were not dealing with a mere wild beast, but with something far more intelligent, far more powerful, and far more dangerous. Olson's disappearance served as a stark reminder of our vulnerability and the overwhelming power of our adversary. We had underestimated the threat, and the cost of that underestimation was dire. The whispers turned into something more tangible, the sounds of movement in the darkness, the sensation of cold drafts where there should be none, the feeling of unseen eyes studying us, probing our weaknesses, testing our limits. The tension within our small group escalated. We were no longer merely facing a physical threat. We were confronting something that operated on a level beyond human comprehension. The ancient power of the mountain was making its presence undeniably known. Our initial mission had degenerated into a desperate fight for survival against a force older and far more powerful than ourselves. This wasn't just a hunting expedition. This was a battle against something ancient and unstoppable. The conflict was no longer confined to the cave. It extended to the mountain itself, the very landscape conspiring against us. Ramirez's growing fear became a significant subplot, adding another layer of complexity to the unfolding narrative. His initial unease morphed into a full-blown terror, fueled by his growing awareness of the ancient legends and the palpable sense of malevolence emanating from the mountain. His pragmatic mercenary instincts clashed with the raw, primal horror he was now facing, creating internal conflict that affected his decision-making and his relationship with me. His fear, initially a source of tension, eventually became a critical element in our strategy for survival that my own detachment. My professional hunter's approach began to crumble under the relentless pressure. The ancient power of RORAIMA, the unsettling atmosphere, and the increasingly disturbing events chipped away at my usual composure. My internal conflict stemmed from my attempts to reconcile my professional training with the raw, inexplicable horror that surrounded us. This struggle, mirroring Ramirez's, created a dynamic that highlighted the limitations of a purely rational, scientific approach in the face of the truly unknown. The dwindling supplies became another critical subplot, accelerating the pace and intensifying the pressure. Every decision about resource allocation, food, ammunition, and medical supplies carried life or death consequences. This forced a reassessment of our strategy, turning our focus from simple elimination to a desperate struggle for survival. The constraints imposed by limited resources created intense tension, highlighting the fragility of our position and the unforgiving nature of the environment. The indigenous legends, once dismissed as mere folklore, became crucial to understanding our predicament. Ramirez's knowledge of these tales, coupled with the glyphs discovered in the cave, provided crucial insights into the nature of the threat we faced. The legends weren't simply stories. They were warnings, clues, and potential pathways to survival. Deciphering these ancient narratives became essential to our strategy, blurring the lines between modern tactical analysis and ancient wisdom. The pressure to succeed, coupled with the mounting fear and the dwindling supplies, intensified the internal conflict between Ramirez and me. His growing desperation contrasted with my still present, albeit wavering, professional detachment. Their differing approaches to the situation became a source of tension, sometimes creating conflict, other times yielding unforeseen insights and innovative solutions. This internal conflict, however, became a catalyst for our eventual survival. The turning point arrived unexpectedly, amidst the escalating terror and dwindling hope. Deep within the cave system, we discovered a hidden chamber, its entrance concealed behind a massive stone slab. Inside, we found a collection of artifacts, ancient tools, ceremonial objects, and a series of disturbingly realistic sculptures depicting scenes of ritual sacrifice. The sculptures, unlike the glyphs we'd seen earlier, were three-dimensional and incredibly detailed. They depicted a terrifying ritual, a sacrifice to appease a powerful entity, the Macabre of legend. The carvings depicted not only the ritual itself, but also the consequences of failing to appease the entity. Scenes of unimaginable horror, vividly capturing the devastating power of the mountain's guardian. This wasn't just a warning, it was a prophecy. Ramirez, his fear giving way to a strange sense of acceptance, recognized the significance of the artifacts. He spoke of a ritualistic appeasement, a way to placate the Macabre, to restore the balance, to ensure our survival. His fear-fueled intuition, once a hindrance, now offered a potential pathway to escape. The ritual required a rare herb, one that grew only on the highest peak of RORAIMA, a perilous climb made even more difficult by the treacherous terrain and the ever-present sense of being watched. This wasn't merely a physical challenge. It was a test of our courage, our faith, our will to survive against overwhelming odds. We were entering a realm where the line between myth and reality blurred. Retrieving the herb was a high-stakes gamble. The climb was fraught with danger. The sheer cliffs, the unpredictable weather, and the ever-present threat of the Macabre. Failure meant certain death, not just from the mountain's unforgiving terrain, but also from the wrath of a powerful, ancient entity that as we began our ascent. The Macabre's presence intensified. The whispers turned into guttural growls, echoing from the unseen depths of the mountain. The very air seemed to hum with a malevolent energy, the mountain itself seemingly conspiring against us. Our journey was not merely a physical challenge, but a battle of wills, a test of our faith against the raw power of an ancient, vengeful entity. This was a turning point, not only in our journey, but also in our understanding of the power and fury of the mountain itself. The climb was a grueling ordeal. The sheer cliffs, the unpredictable weather, and the constant sense of being watched pushed us to our physical and mental limits. Ramirez, his fear momentarily overshadowed by a desperate hope for survival, led the way, his knowledge of the mountain proving invaluable. His understanding of the local legends and the ancient lore guided our steps, helping us to navigate the treacherous terrain and to anticipate the potential dangers that lurked around every corner. Reaching the peak was a triumph, but it was short-lived. As we harvested the herb, the Macabre attacked. Its form was terrifying, a grotesque blend of human and animal features, radiating a palpable aura of ancient malice. It moved with impossible speed and strength, its claws tearing through the air. We barely escaped with our lives, the near-death experience solidifying the gravity of our situation. The ritual itself was a terrifying ordeal. We performed the actions depicted in the sculptures, offering the herb as a sacrifice, hoping to appease the entity and restore the balance. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the air crackling with unseen energy. The success of the ritual was uncertain, the consequences potentially catastrophic. The immediate aftermath was quiet and tense. We waited, breathlessly anticipating the Maypure's reaction. The mountain seemed to hold its breath, the silence heavy with unspoken tension. Then slowly, the air shifted, the oppressive atmosphere lightening, the sense of malevolence receding. The mountain seemed to exhale, releasing the tension that had gripped us for days. That Ramirez's reaction was one of profound relief, mixed with a sense of awe and respect. He had witnessed firsthand the power of the ancient entity, the consequences of disturbing the natural order, and the importance of respecting the sacredness of the land. His initial fear had given way to a deep understanding of the mountain's power and a profound respect for its ancient guardians. That MY reaction was more complex. The experience shattered my professional detachment, replacing it with a newfound respect for the unknown, for the power of ancient forces, and for the spiritual beliefs that had previously seemed so distant. The event fundamentally altered my understanding of the world and my place within it. I had encountered a power beyond human comprehension, and in doing so, my beliefs had been fundamentally altered. The descent from RORAIMA was less perilous than the ascent, but the lingering sense of unease remained. The Maypure had been appeased, but the mountain still held its secrets, its power still palpable. The experience had changed us irrevocably, leaving an indelible mark on our souls. Ramirez, his fear replaced by a newfound respect, began to see the mountain with different eyes. His mercenary pragmatism was tempered by a deeper understanding of the indigenous beliefs and the power of the ancient entities that guarded the land. He had confronted his fear, and in doing so, found a new respect for the raw power of nature. He started to question the nature of his work, the morality of his profession, and his place within the larger world. MY's own transformation was equally profound. The encounter with the Maypure shattered my professional detachment, replacing it with a newfound respect for the power of the unseen, the importance of ancient wisdom, and the delicate balance between humanity and nature. My hunter's instincts were tempered by a broader understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. I began to question the nature of my work, my own beliefs, and my role within the larger scheme of existence. Our relationship, once purely professional, transformed into something deeper. We had faced death together, confronting our fears and confronting the limits of human understanding. The shared experience had forged a bond of mutual respect and camaraderie. We were no longer just mercenaries. We were survivors, bound by a shared experience that transcended our previous roles. The journey back to civilization was a time for reflection. We processed the events we'd endured, grappling with the implications of our discovery. We had faced an ancient, powerful entity, and in doing so, had confronted our own fears, our own limitations, and our own beliefs. We were changed men, forever marked by the encounter on RORAIMA. The artifacts we brought back were kept under tight security, becoming the subject of intense debate. Scientists and anthropologists argued over their origins, their significance, their implications. The government, aware of the implications of our discovery, attempted to suppress the information, but the truth was already out there, a testament to the power of experience and the enduring influence of ancient forces. Our personal growth was intertwined with a larger narrative. We had not only survived a terrifying ordeal, but had also discovered a truth that challenged our preconceived notions of reality. We had confronted an ancient power, and in doing so, we had confronted our own limitations. We had begun to find a new respect for the unseen forces that shape our world and a profound understanding of our place within nature's grand design. The aftermath of our RORAIMA expedition was far from peaceful. The government, initially dismissive, became increasingly interested in our discovery. Their interest, however, wasn't purely scientific. It was driven by a desire to exploit the power of the Maipure and the ancient knowledge we had unearthed. They wanted to weaponize the ancient secrets to harness the power for their own nefarious purposes. This revelation became the catalyst for a new conflict, a battle against the very forces that had initially sent us to RORAIMA. We were no longer just mercenaries. We were guardians of an ancient secret, protectors of a power that should not fall into the wrong hands. Our survival instincts were now driven by a much larger purpose, a mission far beyond our initial contract. Ramirez and I began to prepare for a confrontation. We gathered information, seeking allies among the indigenous Pemen people, hoping to leverage their knowledge and gain their support. Their ancestral connection to the mountain and their understanding of the Maipure were crucial to our strategy. The time for simple survival was over. This was a fight for the future of RORAIMA, a battle against those who sought to exploit its power. We gathered our supplies, preparing for a confrontation that would test our skills and our resolve. The equipment we had previously used was insufficient. We needed something more powerful, something capable of facing a technologically superior force. The preparations were undertaken with a grim determination, fueled by a newfound understanding of the stakes. The government's attempts to cover up our discovery and to gain control of the artifacts intensified. They increased surveillance, attempted to recruit us, and threatened to eliminate us if we didn't cooperate. Their actions were a clear indication of their intentions, confirming our worst fears. We were no longer simply mercenaries. We were targets, and the fight for survival had escalated into a battle for the preservation of an ancient secret and a fight against a larger, more insidious enemy that we developed our strategy based on our knowledge of the mountain, utilizing its terrain to our advantage, and leveraging the indigenous people's insights. Our preparations were not only physical, but also tactical and spiritual, a blend of ancient wisdom and modern skill. Our understanding of RORAIMA's unique environment and its history allowed us to create a tactical defense that played on the strengths of the natural world and the secrets that it held. The mountain itself became a key component of our defense strategy. Our survival depended not only on our skills, but also on our understanding of RORAIMA's history and its intricate ecosystem. The stage was set for a climactic confrontation, a battle not just for our survival, but for the protection of an ancient power, a secret that should never fall into the wrong hands. The government's assault on Mount RORAIMA was swift and brutal. A heavily armed force, utilizing advanced technology and overwhelming firepower, descended upon the mountain, their intent clear: to seize the artifacts and to harness the power of the Maipure for their own nefarious purposes. The peaceful sanctity of the mountain was shattered by the roar of helicopters and the deafening blast of gunfire. Ramirez and I, along with a small group of Pemen warriors, prepared for the inevitable confrontation. We utilized the mountain's terrain to our advantage, using its natural features to create choke points and ambush sites. Our strategy was a blend of ancient knowledge and modern tactics, a testament to our shared experience on RORAIMA. The mountain itself became our greatest ally. The battle was fierce and unrelenting. The government's superior firepower was countered by our intimate knowledge of the terrain and the element of surprise. The Pemen warriors, fiercely defending their sacred land, fought with a courage born of desperation, their ancestral knowledge guiding their actions. The clash of ancient tradition and modern technology created a chaotic, brutal conflict. Ramirez, his fear replaced by a righteous fury, fought with the skill of a seasoned mercenary and the ferocity of a protector. He moved like a phantom through the undergrowth, his actions precise and deadly. My own fighting style had also transformed. The encounter with the Maipure had changed me. My approach was no longer purely pragmatic. It was infused with a respect for the ancient power of the mountain and a fierce determination to protect it. The climax of the battle occurred at the very peak of RORAIMA, near the cave where we discovered the artifacts. The government's forces, having breached our defenses, pushed towards their objective, their ambition fueled by greed and a lust for power. However, they had underestimated the mountain's power and the strength of its defenders that as the government forces reached the cave, the Maipure appeared. Its presence was not merely a physical manifestation. It was a raw, untamed energy that swept through the mountain, unleashing its fury upon the invaders. The government's advanced technology proved useless against the ancient power. Their weaponry malfunctioned, their communications failed, and their soldiers were overcome by a primal terror that shattered their resolve. The Mapur's wrath was swift and decisive. The government forces were routed, their assault repelled by a power beyond their comprehension. The mountain had fought back, defending its ancient secrets from those who sought to exploit them. The victory, however, came at a cost. The mountain had been scarred, and the ancient power had been awakened. The government's assault on RORAIMA ended in utter defeat. The Mapur's power, unleashed in a terrifying display of raw energy, decimated their forces. Their advanced weaponry proved useless against the ancient entity's might. Their technology was no match for the raw power of nature and the strength of a vengeful spirit protecting its sacred ground. The mountain, once threatened, had exacted its revenge. The aftermath was a scene of devastation and quiet awe. The once pristine landscape was scarred by the battle, a testament to the destructive potential of human greed. The government's forces were routed, their equipment destroyed, their ambition shattered. They retreated, defeated and humiliated, leaving behind a trail of destruction and a profound understanding of the power they had underestimated. Ramirez and I, along with the Pemen warriors, surveyed the battlefield, a mixture of relief and sorrow washing over us. We had won the battle, but at a cost. The mountain had been scarred, its sacredness violated. The memory of the conflict would forever be etched into its landscape, a grim reminder of humanity's capacity for both destruction and misguided ambition. The artifacts remained on RORAIMA, their power protected, their secrets guarded. The government's attempts to exploit the mountain's power were thwarted, their hubris exposed. The world learned a valuable lesson. The power of nature should be respected, not exploited. The ancient secrets of RORAIMA remained undisturbed, a testament to the enduring strength of ancient traditions and the enduring power of nature's defense mechanisms. Our report, though initially suppressed, eventually reached the public, igniting a global debate about the ethics of scientific research and the importance of protecting indigenous cultures and sacred lands. RORAIMA became a symbol of resistance, a testament to the power of nature and the resilience of those who defend it. The mountain, scarred but not broken, stood tall, its ancient power a reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the importance of respecting the forces that shape our world. Ramirez and I, forever changed by our experiences, dedicated our lives to protecting RORAIMA and other sacred sites around the globe. Our shared experience had transformed us from mercenaries into guardians, protectors of the ancient mysteries and the fragile balance of nature. Years later, Mount RORAIMA remains a place of mystery and reverence. The scars of the battle are fading, but the memory lingers. Ramirez returned to his family, his mercenary days behind him. I continue to work, but my targets have changed. I protect what I once hunted. The Mapure remains a silent guardian, its power a reminder of nature's ability to defend itself against those who seek to exploit it. The mountain stands as a testament to the enduring power of ancient forces and the resilience of those who fight to protect them. This is more than just a story. It's a warning. The events on Mount RORAIMA serve as a chilling reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the importance of respecting the power of nature. Share this story, spread awareness, and let's work together to protect our planet's irreplaceable ecosystems. Click the link below to explore more tales of survival against unimaginable odds. Dare to uncover the mysteries hidden within our world and discover the terrifying truths that lurk in the shadows. What secrets will you unearth?